All right. What's up, good people? How's everybody doing this evening? Pre-game show, man. I told you guys I would try to commit to doing it, right? I told you. I came through. This is going to be a short show. You know, this is the very, very short one, 10 to 15 minutes at that. No phone calls or anything like that. I'll basically just be taking a look at some of you guys' comments, give you my quick thoughts, and then we're out of here. All right, but let's make sure everything is up and running because I had hit the stream button before I started, and I forgot that my microphone wasn't connected, so I quickly cut it off. So hopefully, you know, it's back to normal. Just make sure it's live. Yeah, it looks like we're live. So, all right, let's get into it, guys. So let me do what I normally do. Give me a hot second. I'm going to share the link out to a few special people, and then we will be underway. But how's everybody doing tonight so far, man? I hope everybody's enjoying their early weekend, you know, Friday night, whatever your vice is. I hope you're enjoying yourself with that. And if your vice is something, you know, that of, you know, alcoholic preference or alcohol preference or, you know, smoke preference, whatever it is some of you guys do, I have no idea. All I do is say, just do it responsibly, whatever your vice is on the weekend. All right, so we're going to get started here in just a second. 1 second. Let me send the link out. 1 second, folks. And I promise we will be underway. Well, hopefully you guys are having a wonderful Friday evening so far. You know, I'm a little bit tired. You guys know I commute to my office on Friday. You know, I work from home 4 days a week. I commute all the way down to DC on Friday. So I'm a little tired, but never too tired to talk about the Steelers, right? All right, so I've sent the link out to everybody. So let's do some really quick introductions here, and we shall get started. Give me a hot second here. All right, let's do some introductions. What's up to Carl Begart, Nays, Myron Sanders, Chris Slavin, The Hawk, Vista Light. Give me a second. All right, cool. Vista Light, Relfax, Daredevil. Who else we got up in here? Christian Gonzalez, Yenzer Mob is in the building. Anthony Nava, Lex Bizzle, KB, and King Guru Lee and Frost MIG. Steve Foster, what's good? All right, man, let's get into it, man. So what we basically going to address here tonight, we're going to definitely talk a little bit about, let's start off with the Antonio Brown news really quick. That's really not Steeler talk, but I'll start that way and allow some people to get up in here before I get into the Steeler news. Let me get a sip of water if you don't mind. Throw some little background music on there for you guys. Wow. Listen, man, I'm going to be very brief with this. Antonio Brown is not my concern anymore. He's no longer a Pittsburgh Steeler, but I mean, obviously, we all watch football, you know, regardless if it's the Steelers or not, so we know about players, we know what's going on around the league. And again, before I get into the negative, I will say this. Listen, regardless of what Antonio Brown does or becomes, I can't take away what he did for the Pittsburgh Steelers when he was with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I can't take that away. He's probably going to go down as the greatest wide receiver that we've had in a Steeler uniform, you know, from top to bottom. He's probably going to be that in terms of stats and things of that nature. You can't take that away from him. I love what he did for us on the field. We started learning, you know, a few years after he was there what type of personality he had. And it is what it is. It all came to a head, etc., etc. But wow, amazing. And let me just say this, because I did say this on the last show. I think it's kind of corny, man, in the way things are perceived in terms of, you know, you're guilty before you're found innocent. That kind of sucks. But I also believe sometimes where there's smoke, there's fire. There may be something going on. Whoa, time out. Round of applause. Super round of applause to Myron Sanders. My goodness. Wow. Matter of fact, we're going to give him another round of applause. Myron Sanders, hope I'm saying that correctly. Thank you. You're far too kind. I appreciate the donation, man. $50 donation. Wow. You know, I'm very humbled by that. I appreciate that, Myron. Much appreciated. Now, guys, let's get back into what I was saying. Listen, man, you know, AB, I hate to judge people before I know the facts. Could be a setup. You know, it's very fishy that it all seems to come to a head now. Then again, maybe he did do some of these things. Who knows? You know, some of these text messages could be his. I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to get into innocence or being guilty. I don't know. I'm just saying it kind of sucks, though, that the way things are perceived, you know, by public, perception and the court of public opinion and, you know, companies and ownership and things like that, you know, jumping the gun. It kind of sucks that you could be accused for things and then you start losing out right away. I don't wish that on anybody. I don't care if Antonio Brown is not a Steeler. I don't wish that on anybody. But if it comes out to be true, then listen, man, you know, you do the crime, you got to do the time. You got to pay for it, right? But what I will say is how crazy this situation is. We saw what happened in Pittsburgh, gets shipped off to Oakland. That very quickly we started learning that maybe that was a ploy, okay? Demands a release, gets released from Oakland. Can't play in the first week. He plays with New England in the second week, gets his first touchdown from Tom Brady, and here we are going into week 3 and he's already released by the Patriots. So for you guys that don't know about that, Antonio Brown has been released by the New England Patriots amid more sexual assault allegations. So yes, for you guys that didn't know that, he has been now released by the Patriots. How crazy. The last 4 weeks of this guy's life has been Looney Tune. And listen, as a Steeler fan, I guess we could say, you know, who looks stupid now? For everybody who was saying the Steeler organization was stupid and et cetera, et cetera. And you can take the sexual allegations off of the table. Just look at how everything has transpired with him since going to Oakland. I'm just saying, we're not always in the building. We're never in the building. We don't know what's going on. But just thought I would address that, man, because people have been asking me my thoughts, you know, all day, and that's how I feel about it. I'm not gonna judge the man until I know the truth. But if he did do any of this, like I said, sometimes when the smoke is fire, you bring things on yourself, and you get what you deserve, so to speak. So there you have it. But let's talk about some Steeler football, guys, really quick. Like I said, very quick tonight. We're already at 8 minutes, so let me speed through this. Just going to give my quick thoughts, man, on what I think the Steelers would need to do in order to possibly secure victory against the 49ers out in San Francisco at Levi Stadium. And I say possibly because I'm going to be honest and open and real with you guys. You know, I'm a fan to my heart. You know, I feel like if I could, I would bleed black and yellow. But I'm a realist, you know, and that's part of what I've become, being more so of a guy now that analyzes the team. You know, I'm able to separate my fanism, if you will. Of course, I want us to win the Super Bowl every year, but I look at things from a more realistic standpoint now. I don't know if we win this game. I'm going to be honest with you. San Francisco's offense is talented, and they're tricky. Remember who's running their offense? Kyle Shanahan. We know Kyle Shanahan has a lot of tricks up his sleeve. They run a lot of misdirection type of things, you know, jet motion, all kinds of things. You know, and what's the worst thing that they've said about the Steelers defense? What we've been saying, communication. This could be a very bad matchup for us. But I'm going to tell you how we could win, okay? But I'm not optimistic. I'm not sitting here at 0-2 and thinking that our Steelers are going to go out there with a backup quarterback, regardless of how good you think he plays, and we're going to go on the road and face a team that's hot with a record of 2-0. In their first home opener of the season. The momentum is clearly not, and you know what, guys, excuse me, man, but I'm gonna have to get me a new chair. So I appreciate you guys' donations, because like I said, every time I get a donation, I try to incorporate that back into presenting the show to you guys. So I'm gonna definitely invest in another chair. This one is squeaky old squeaky. But anyway, back to the topic. It's hard to just think they're going to go out there and get a win. It's going to be tough. Not saying that they can't. It's just going to be hard to think that they're going to do that. But this is how I think our Steelers can win. First thing we're going to have... Wait. Time out. Before I get that, I'm getting a little ahead of myself here. Let's look at the injury report really quick. Already ruled out for the game is Rosie Nix again. Vince Williams again, which means that Devin Bush is going to see a lot more time, which also means I'm very curious to see who would be the third man in rotation. Might we see some UG3? Might we see a little Gilbert? Or is it going to be Metakevich? Because you would expect that they're going to have to spell somebody at some point. You would expect that Barron and Bush are not going to be out there the entire time. Interesting, right? Anthony Chickalo is out. What does that mean? Danny. We should be seeing some Ola in this game. The Steelers have generally done a three-man rotation where primarily it was Chickalo backing up either TJ or backing up Bud Dupree. I almost said Dud. That probably is appropriate, right? So we're probably going to see some Adani. I'm curious to see what's going to go on with him. I can't wait to see how everything's going to play out there. Everybody else that had little nicks and knacks, they're going to play. Joe Hayden practicing full, James Conner practicing full, Vance McDonald, Bud Dupree, Mark Barron, which wasn't injury related anyway. And let's look at the 49ers really quick. So who they've ruled out already: Tevin Coleman, Jalen Hurd, Trent Taylor, Joe Staley. That's a huge one. Now, Joe Staley is going to be replaced, I believe, by a rookie tackle, and I think on the left side. So I have to echo what I heard Alex Kazor and Dave say on their podcast today. I would like to see the Steelers do some mix and match, maybe get TJ Watt up against the rookie. You know, swap those guys every now and then. And even if they don't swap, come on, Bud Dupree. Can you have a good game against a lesser tackle, if you will? Can you? Joe Staley being down is a big deal. Questionable, D Ford. Questionable, Nick Bosa. Questionable, Jarkiski Tart, if I'm saying his name correctly, the safety. Questionable, Jimmy Ward. So we'll keep our eyes on that to see who will be inactive. But if D Ford is out, that's huge. That's a huge plus for us. All right, but that Joe Staley situation should give us some advantages up front. Now, let's talk about something else really quick. Guess who's getting the starting nod? Guess who's starting on Sunday at wide receiver? You guessed it, Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson is getting the start over Dante Moncrief. But what's going to be interesting to see, and I mentioned this to Kenyon earlier in a text, I wonder what they're going to do when they line up in like a 12 personnel, if they come out where, there's only two receivers. It's probably going to be Juju and Washington, I'm expecting. So what we're probably going to see mostly in 11 personnel is where you're going to have three wideouts, and you're probably going to see Juju work in the slot. Deontay Johnson, will be the X, and James Washington would be the Z. James Washington has played the Z receiver mostly since he's been with Pittsburgh, so I don't imagine that there's going to be any flip-flop there. So when they go two receivers, you're going to primarily have Juju at the X, James Washington at Z. When there's three receivers, Juju slides in the slot. Then you're going to have Deontay Johnson at the X, and there you have it. So whatever lineup you guys remember seeing when Moncrief was out there, replace him with Deontay Johnson. And listen, I'm happy. I'm happy at the fact that we got some young blood out there that is going to get a go. We're going to see the young quarterback, young receivers. All three of those guys are young. On the other end of the opposite end of the ball, the defensive side of the ball, you're going to see a young Devin Bush, getting primarily all of the snaps. Minkah Fitzpatrick in the fold. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, man, win or lose, however this season goes, I'm going to be very interested in watching this team and see what type of young talent we have and what we're going to be able to build on. Because clearly this is the new era. This is the start of a new era. Whether Roethlisberger comes back or not, which he said he will be next year, it still allows us to see what the new era will more than likely look like 2 to 3 years from now in terms of the offense, right? But let's get into the keys to victory, and then we'll get out of here. Listen, man, I think the Steelers are going to definitely, we can say this every week, but this week more importantly, because it's Mason Rudolph, you're going to have to find a way to run the football. You have to find a way to run the football, because what did we see when Mason Rudolph came in the game against Seattle? Play action. I want to see more play action. I saw a stat, they said that Rudolph was successful 5 out of 7 tries out of play action. That's huge. I want to see more play action. You can't play action him to death, but you got to work that in. And how does it work most of the time? Off of the run. I think we're going to have to control the clock. It's going to have to be one of those games because, like I said, we don't know how the defense is going to play. We can only go off of what we've seen in the first 2 games. Defense doesn't look like a defense that's able to hold much. Did decent in the first half, but in the second half, we gave up some plays. So I feel like if we can control the clock, win the time of possession, and produce points, we have a chance. Try to keep the Niners offense off of the field as much as you can, because they scare me. Because of all of the different looks that they throw at you, they do scare me a little bit because, again, the main problem with our defense has been communication. As well as we all know Keith Butler is going to do some predictable things. We can already expect that. Also, the addition of Minkah Fitzpatrick. Great, but what does that mean? Hasn't been here long. That might cause us to run more vanilla type of defense, more basic things, which sometimes the basics can get it done. Look at what the Patriots did to us. They lined up in cover 1 primarily. That's the most basic defense ever, but it worked. But it could limit some of the exotic things that we might want to try because we have a new guy in the fold. So I'm interested to see how he does, and we just cannot give up the big play. I don't think we're going to keep them from scoring. I think, like I said, they are very talented offensively. Garoppolo is looking good. They got a speedy receiver. And they also got that bad boy George Kittle. Yikes. We might see some matchups where it's Fitzpatrick against Kittle. Should be interesting. They still got the old crafty Richard Sherman, so you can't play with him out there. However, I don't think Richard Sherman is the guy he used to be in terms of speed and things like that. I think Johnny Holton might be able to get behind him on a fly pattern. Test that out early, in my opinion. Let's test the old man out early. Run a straight 9 route with Holton early in the game just to see how Richard Sherman looks today. That's what I would do. You don't want to play with Richard Sherman too much because he's still crafty and he's still Richard Sherman, but he's not lockdown Richard. I think he can be had with the speed aspect. Let's test him early. Even if we don't throw it to Holton, let's just run that 9 route just to see, just get a look. Let's just see what it looked like. But I think that's how we can win, man. Run the football, get the run game going, mix in some play action. Don't be afraid to allow Mason Rudolph to let it rip. Basically come out with the same game plan you have for him in the second half. And I think we could win the game. I don't think that the Niners are that powerful of a team. They've looked good early, but I don't think they're that mega of a team. But we cannot give up the big play. Cannot do that. We got to keep a lid on it some kind of way. If we can do that, and you surrender the points that an NFL team is going to give up, we give up maybe no more than 14 points, maybe 17. I think we can squeeze out a 20-point game, 21-point game perhaps with Mason Rudolph. I think we could very well get a 21-17 type of game. But we have to do those things, man. If we give up the big plays, we're not going to be able to play catch up with these guys. Not going to be able to do that. If you come out and you just got Mason Rudolph passing all over the place, I don't think we win the game like that either. Clock management, develop a running game, work your play action. Defense, just keep a lid on it. Limit the big chunk plays. We could possibly get a win. And this is important. Let me just say that. This is important, man, because going 0-3, yikes. But think about this. If they can somehow look decent against the Niners and pull out a win, you're 1-2. You come back home, you get Cincinnati. Cincinnati's not looking good. We could easily be 2-2. And then it's a whole different ball game from there. So we shall see. We shall see. But let's go to the chat really quick, man. I'm only going to spend about 2 or 3 minutes here. What you guys got? Why Diggy says, I think our defense needs to get back to the basics. Absolutely. Fully agree with that. Steve Foster says Sherman is too smart. Yeah, Sherman is definitely smart. But like Vista Light just said, test him out. That's why I said, man, even if you don't throw it, show Richard Sherman that, yeah, we're going to come right at you. Run a straight go route. Right out there, break, and make him run. Especially if you catch them in man. Make him run. Let's see what he got. Let's see how he looks Sunday. Washington going to break out with the Mason chemistry. Very possible. Very possible. Nay says, so smart by the game to get Mason and James in the same draft. I think you missed some words there. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, it was. I thought that was a good move. If you guys remember, from you guys who was following me back then, I thought it was a good move when that happened then. You know, that amazing. Just think about, man, 5 years from now, we're talking about those guys being one of the best duos in the league. Wouldn't that be crazy? Then we really would look back at that draft and be like, wow, Steelers had the foresight to do that. M1 Garin Master says, we need to play more man coverage and get away from playing zone all game long. M1, you remember the Patriots game? We played a bunch of man coverage. Matter of fact, last year the Steelers have become more of a man coverage team. We do mix zone in there, but you got to understand it has to be a balance. You know why? Because Brady picked us apart running man beaters. Okay? So, you know, you can't just stay in man. But yes, the Steelers run man quite often now. You know, they're not just a sit-in zone type of team. We definitely have been running man quite often, but we have to pick our spots. And you got to pick your matchups. You know what I mean? You got to pick your matchups. And that's what I want to see Keith Butler do a little better. On the touchdown to DK Metcalf, you know, against Edmonds. And Edmonds was in pretty decent position. He just lost the ball when the ball got there. But you got to recognize that if you're Butler, right? Steven Nelson had a great game against Metcalf. You guys remember, great game. So when they go 5 wide or they go empty set and you see the matchup, those guys need to switch. You need to communicate that and say, no, switch. Get Nelson on Metcalf in the slot and then let Edmonds play the tight end on that play. Take your chance with the guy who has had success against him early in the game. They caught us in the right matchup, and that's football, folks. Russell Wilson recognized who he wanted to go after, and that was a great indication of that. Nelson, he had been shutting him down. Soon as they get him on Edmonds, Wilson was like, okay, let's take advantage here and just see if we can beat the safety. He did. That's football. But I need Keith Butler to recognize that. See what I'm saying? Too many times, man, that you see Butler. I mean, if you have to, call a timeout. You know, even in the Patriots game, there was times when Vince Williams was lined up against Josh Gordon. And I get it. Sometimes the Patriots and good offensive teams are going to catch you in the wrong personnel. It's a cat and mouse game. But in that situation, you need to have automatic checks. Have your defense ready to say, nah, this is a better matchup. You take him. Or if you have to, timeout. But come on, in that situation in Seattle, that should have been an easy check by the defense. Switch off. I'm going to get him, you get him. But great execution by the Seattle Seahawks. A few more guys, and then we're going to get out of here. New England is hoping Josh Gordon can keep it together. If not, they are now down to Edelman. Yeah, that's right. Brian says, we at least got the 2 top teams out of the way. Ravens have played Dolphins in Arizona. We got easier games coming up. Yeah, we do. But we got to see how we look, man. And I think this is a huge measuring stick, but it's a lot of odds against us, man. Again, going on the road, Mason Rudolph's first start, you know, adding a new guy into the fold on defense, even though I love the trade and I think Minkah Fitzpatrick will be a great player for the Steelers. But it's a lot of variables, man. A lot of new guys are going to get rotation. Now, Danny's going to get a heavy rotation. Devin Bush is going to have to play a lot more, which I'm not mad at that. But, again, these are young guys. Deontay Johnson is getting the start. It's a lot of things weighing against us, but you know, it's a winnable game. Yak TV says, I remember when a rookie wouldn't start on the Steelers defense because it used to be too complex. Yes, sir. Dick LeBeau won't play in them games, right? Score prediction, I don't know, man. I think, like I said, I don't like predicting scores because, you know, anything can happen, but I usually give a score prediction based off of what I think the team needs to do. So what I said a little bit earlier, if we can hold the Niners to no more than about 17 points, I think our team could muscle out 20 to 21 points, maybe, with Rudolph. So I could see a 21 to 17 type of game, something like that. Dwayne Duncantel says, I like the fact that we're not expected to win, to will less pressure. I think you say win less pressure. Okay, yep, I agree with you with that. In the Green TV says, we got to stop Breeder 22. He ran all over the Bungles. Yeah, he did. Y Diggy says, now Tomlin's only win on the West Coast came with Ben was out. Something to think about. Ain't that crazy? I remember that. Remember the Michael Vick scramble? We saw the old Michael Vick come out for just a moment. It wasn't the same Vick, but he took off and ran on that play, got us all the way down there, and we went for it with Le'Veon Bell in the Wildcat, and Bell got in there for the end zone. I remember that was a sweet victory, man. But yeah, Tomlin is 1-5 on Pacific time. Whew, it's not good. 31-28 nowadays. I mean, it could be, but listen, let's not act like that we think that this offense is going to put up 30 points just like that. I don't see that. Maybe, but I don't see that. Yinzamob said, all right, I'm about to shut it down, guys. We're approaching 30 minutes, so we'll hold right at 30 minutes. We're at 27 minutes and 5 seconds. After this week, the only away game till the middle of November is in LA against the Chargers. And y'all remember that Monday night, that sure felt like a home game. It sure did. Sure did. Sure did. Michael Garman says he's going to the game. Hey, man. Have fun. Have fun, man. I didn't realize you were out there. Enjoy yourself, man. Represent Steeler Nation, man. And you can come back, since you're going to the game, you might not be able to jump on the show, the post-game show, but we would love to hear your thoughts, from being in the stadium. Thoughts on DJ starting? I like it, Kyle. Listen, this is a new era, man. You know what I mean? Let's try these new toys out and see what they got. We have nothing to lose at this point. Ben Roethlisberger is gone. And I don't care what people think about Ben, whether they think he's great or not. Anytime you lose your starting quarterback, that is a detriment to the team. You only hope that the backup guy can come in and ball out. We only could hope that when Ben got in, when Maddox went down, that he balled out, and he did. But you don't expect that. Anytime your offense of your captain, your leader of the team goes down, you're going to take a hit. So I feel like now, why not try, man? Why not bust your gun? Go out fighting. At least we'll get to learn about these players, regardless of how the season pans out. And who knows? What if these dudes ball out and have a pretty good season? I love what the Steelers are doing right now, man. Just being aggressive with the trade and, giving these guys an opportunity. Let's go. Nobody thinking we're going to do anything anyway because Ben is out. So this is the time for you to show your hand, man. Let's go. Put all the cards, throw them all in. Let's go. Excuse me. All right, 29 minutes, guys. I'm going to ask two more questions or two more comments. Kenyon says, it's not the pass rush, fellas. It's the third down and distance conversions. That is exactly what it is. See, Kenyon, everybody don't watch the game like we do. Our pass rush hasn't been that bad, especially not against Seattle. Remember the first quarter. Don't let what happened at the end of the game, dilute or, make you forget how the game was actually being played early on. The defense was balling. But it's those third down conversions. And we saw similar things happen last year. Remember New Orleans? But all right, one more. Jay Waller 412 says, I think we're going to be straight. I want to see what Rudolph and Fitzpatrick are going to do. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm right there with you in the green. 21-17 sounds like something we could muscle out. Yeah, Benny Snell needs to get a little more time. I'm a little upset that they didn't go back to him, man, after that long run. Had the longest run of the game against Seattle. So we'll see. Hopefully he can get some burn, you know, at some point, but we shall see. But we're going to go ahead and wrap it right there, guys. Nice, quick show. Great viewership. Again, Myron Sanders, let's give you another round of applause. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate the donation. Of course, I have to say it, guys. If you would like to donate the same way he did, you can do so right here on YouTube like he did. All you have to do is click the $ down at the bottom of the chat window, okay? It's not required. It's always appreciated, never required. If you prefer to do it outside of YouTube, which I actually prefer myself because YouTube keeps their hand out of my pocket because y'all have no idea. But I'm still appreciative, however you want to do it. But if you prefer to do it outside of YouTube, I have PayPal, I have Cash App. All of that information is in the description. Again, let me be clear. It's appreciated, never required. Never feel like you have to. Outside of that, make sure you guys, if you're new, subscribe. We do this every week. I've introduced this show, but every week we do a Terrible Towel post-game show. On Tuesday, we do Terrible Towel Tuesday. And now I'm trying to incorporate this pre-game show, which will be Fridays or Saturdays. Can't lock into those yet because we never know how the schedule will be. But I'm going to try to commit to keep doing these for you guys, you know, each and every week because we have a good time here. And outside of that, man, just do me a favor. Hit the like button if you haven't. Please hit that like button if you liked it. Hit the dislike button if you disliked it. Just share your real feelings. Outside of that, enjoy your weekend. Watch some college football tomorrow. Watch some early football on Sunday. I'm going to be watching that Ravens-Chiefs game. Definitely going to watch that. And then at 4:25 Eastern time, let's lock in, see what our young gun Steelers can do. And hopefully after that game, we're talking about how impressed we were with the win. If not, get ready for a long season. But all right, man, y'all take care. Y'all have a good night. Be safe. God bless. And thank you for tuning in to the Steeler Report, the preview of the Steelers versus the Niners. Catch you guys later. Peace.